The Ishtari Ghost. The spaceport on Kalem was a chaotic symphony of crystalline chimes and the roar of departing thrusters. Elias Thorne had been focused on one thing: the cooling gaskets of the Aegis. He had been distracted, haggling with a three-armed junk merchant over the price of a second-hand thermal regulator, which was exactly when the slip occurred. In the dark underbelly of the docking bay, shrouded by the venting steam of the ship's atmospheric scrubbers, a blur of motion had moved against the light. Lyra had been running for 3 solar cycles, her lungs burning with the dry, recycled air of the glass city. Behind her, she could feel the cold spots in the air, the telltale sign that the Hollowed were folding space, stepping through the shadows to find their prize. She didn't choose the Aegis for its beauty. She chose it because it looked like it belonged to a man who didn't ask questions. While Elias was busy arguing over credits, Lyra had pressed the palm of her hand against the Aegis's cargo ramp. The ship's security AI should have screamed, but Lyra's skin, infused with the ancient Ishtari master code, simply whispered a command. The ramp hissed open just an inch, enough for a slip of a girl to vanish into the darkness of cargo hold B before sealing shut as if nothing had happened. Fast forward 3 hours into the deep black, the Aegis groaned, a metallic shriek echoing through the hull as a high-energy pulse from the pursuing obsidian ships boiled the outer shielding. Inside the cargo hold, the air grew thick with the smell of scorched copper. Elias Thorne had only just discovered his guest when the first torpedo hit. He had gone back for a wrench, only to find a girl with glowing skin huddled among his spare parts. "Who are they?" Elias demanded now, his voice straining against the G-force as he banked the ship into a violent corkscrew. "And how in the hell did you get past my level 5 encryption? I'm a simple freighter captain, kid. I deal in scrap and stories, not interstellar homicide." Lyra huddled against a corrugated titanium crate, her pearlescent skin flickering like a dying bulb. "I didn't break in, Captain. I recognized the ship's soul. It's old, like me." She clutched the coral compass to her chest as if it were a beating heart. "The ones behind us are the Hollowed. They are the echo of a hunger that predates your stars. They don't want the map, Captain. They want the key. I am the key. My blood is the coordinate, and my soul is the resonance." Elias didn't have time to process the metaphysical implications of a human-shaped star chart. He lunged for the pilot's chair, his fingers dancing across the haptic interface. The Aegis was a freighter, built for endurance and heavy lifting, not a high-speed dogfight in a nebula. Behind him, the 3 obsidian teeth, ships that seemed to swallow the light around them, were closing the gap with terrifying silent efficiency. They didn't use thrusters. They warped the space around them, sliding through reality like needles through silk. "Computer!" Elias barked, his old life as a scrivener slipping through his tongue. "Redirect all auxiliary power to the aft shields. Dump the coolant into the exhaust ports. Maybe we can blind their sensors with a thermal bloom." "Warning," the ship's synthetic voice droned, unbothered by the impending doom. "Nebula density at 88%. Navigation sensors will be blinded. Probability of collision with volatile gas pockets is 92%. You are effectively flying into a furnace, Captain." "I like those odds better than being vaporized," Elias muttered. He looked back at the monitor. The lead hunter ship was charging its primary weapon, a lance of pure vacuum that would collapse the Aegis into a crushed soda can in a heartbeat. He threw the throttle forward, pinning himself into the seat. The ship surged into the violet mists of the nebula of whispers. Suddenly, the universe changed. The sensors went dark, replaced by a chaotic swirl of purple light and static. But the whispers weren't just a name. As they entered the clouds, voices filled the cockpit. 1,000 overlapping conversations in languages dead for eons. A psychic white noise that made Elias's nose begin to bleed. Lyra stumbled into the cockpit, her eyes now fully luminous, casting a ghostly blue light over the dashboard. She pointed toward a swirling vortex of emerald gas that looked like a hurricane in heaven. There, through the throat of the siren. If you can hold the ship together, the compass will guide us to the sunless forge. Elias gripped the flight stick, his knuckles white. Behind them, the obsidian ships dove into the mist, their silhouettes flickering like sharks in murky water. A massive explosion rocked the ship. One of the hunters had clipped a pocket of volatile hydrogen, vanishing in a silent bloom of orange fire. "One down!" Elias yelled over the roar of the atmospheric friction. "But if we don't find this forge soon, the pressure is going to peel this ship like an orange." The girl placed her hand over his on the controls. Her touch was ice cold, yet it sent a jolt of crystalline clarity through his mind. Suddenly, the static on the screen cleared, replaced by a glowing golden path illuminated by the coral device. It was a slipstream, a hidden vein in the nebula that defied the laws of physics. Elias steered the Aegis into the golden light, the ship vibrating so hard he feared the rivets would pop. With a final, bone-jarring lurch, they burst through the wall of gas and into a pocket of perfect, crystalline stillness. Before them sat something that shouldn't exist. A space station the size of a moon, crafted from white marble and humming with the power of a captured sun. The Aegis drifted in its shadow, a tiny speck of scarred metal against a monument of impossible architecture. The station wasn't just large. It was a contradiction of scale, built of interlocking rings and veins of pulsing, liquid gold. "The sensors are flatlining," Elias muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. "According to the ship, that thing doesn't exist. No mass, no heat, just a hole in reality, shaped like a palace." "It is a bridge," Lyra whispered. "My people, the Ishtari. We built it to leave this reality behind. The void is only empty to those who cannot see the threads. I am the last one who knows the frequency to open the gate." Suddenly, a massive, shadowy tether snaked out from the forge, latching onto the Aegis with a magnetic grip that nearly sent Elias through the viewport. They were being pulled into a shimmering iris in the center of the largest marble ring. As they passed through, the darkness of space was replaced by an interior world of breathtaking light. Forests of silver trees grew toward a central artificial sun, but scattered among the beauty were the remains of an ancient war, shattered husks of ships, and the skeletal remains of giants. And there, perched upon a floating spire of glass, sat a single obsidian ship, larger than the others, waiting like a spider. A voice, cold and echoing as a mountain tomb, flooded the cockpit speakers. "Wayfinder, you have brought the key to the lock. The hallowed thank you for your service. Now step away from the girl, and your death will be swift." Elias looked at Lyra's pale face, then at his pistol, then at the massive weapon systems tracking his every move. He cracked his knuckles, a reckless grin tugging at his mouth. "You know," he whispered, "I really should have stayed in bed today, but I never did like being told what to do." He slammed a final override switch, and the ship's lights went pitch black. How did a girl from a forgotten age bypass the most sophisticated security in the sector? And what soul did she recognize in Elias Thorne's battered old freighter? The trap is sprung. Locked within the sunless forge, our heroes face an enemy that defies death itself. Will Elias's quick thinking be enough to outrun a shadow, or has the key finally found its lock? Stay tuned, listeners, as the mystery deepens and the galaxy grows colder. Subscribe to find out next time where Elias Thorne's story continues, and support us on Patreon so we may continue to produce thrilling stories for you. Tune in next time for the next installment of Elias Thorne Adventures.